Let me know when you're all ready. Everybody good? Welcome to Fight Week, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Pretty quick turnaround for you on this one, right? Was that by design?
No, the UFC called and they said, "Hey, do you want to fight Curtis?" I said, "Sure, why not?" So I got nothing to do. So yeah.
Were you more interested in taking a little bit more time off than turning around this quickly then?
I was okay with the turnaround. Nothing, I wasn't looking to take X amount of months off or anything like that. I enjoyed the holidays, enjoyed the new year, and then got right back into camp. I'm really the type of guy that if I'm really just sitting around, not really doing anything, I kind of get bored. So I have to have a goal, and this is the goal on Saturday.
They call you with a name like that. What kind of goes through your head right out of the gate when they say, "Hey, man, it's Curtis Blaydes"? What do you think?
When? What date? It's not a matter of yes, no, if, maybe, nothing like that. It's okay. We're doing it. When's the date? And I just got to make sure that everything else is good logistically with, making sure my brother doesn't have a fight or anything like that. So yeah, we're all good.
It's been a minute since you've had to rebound from a loss, obviously. What take me through kind of, I guess, the mental part of the fight game as you're in a training camp when you know that that's a few months behind you and you got to bounce back from it.
Yeah, it certainly sucks as far as like losing. No one really likes to lose. I definitely don't like to lose at anything. But to lose like that, I was in like a bad place for a little bit, just because it's just with leaving my job right before then, like officially leaving my job, the questions of, are you good enough? Like, should you be here? Did you make a mistake? All that is just creeping into your head. And it's not like I'm a single guy. I've, my wife, my son, and then my daughter's coming. So it's like a big commitment that I, stepped away from, where I was guaranteed a paycheck every 2 weeks. And now I can go months without, getting paid. And so it was a big thing. But, I was in that dark place. I stayed there for a little bit, realized what I did wrong and everything like that. And I really just, I didn't want to go back there. So I spent some time there. And, just going into this camp has been really good. Just fixing everything that I made the mistakes on as far as in the Derek Lewis fight. But, man, I honestly haven't been this excited for a fight week, a fight camp in a very long time.
With the Lewis fight, obviously, had you won that fight, I mean, you're right there in the conversation. That's a bump in the road. But does a win over a guy like Curtis Blaydes put you right back where you were before, or do you think it needs, you need one or two more?
No, I'm right there. No, I'm right there. He's number 4. In my opinion, you keep what you kill. I take his spot. I take number 4 spot. I'm right there. Look what Ty did. Ty, beat Derek. He jumped up to number 3. There's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't jump to number 4. And then whatever the UFC wants to do after that, Ty's there. Tom just fought last week. He called out Ty, so I don't know what the whole matchmaking skills is going to be, but I'm really not focused on that. I'm just focused on Curtis.
And obviously, last one for me, but you look at Curtis's skill set. Where is he dangerous to you besides the obvious one, which would be the wrestling, I guess? He's
got power. We're all heavyweights. We all have power, but he seems to hit guys a little bit, when they're not expecting, and that's when he really, is able to, hurt them. His footwork is pretty good. He tends to switch his stance, but there's certain aspects that I picked up on and my brother's picked up on that we can capitalize on, and that's just what we're planning on doing on Saturday.
Is it too simple to say that this is just a striker versus a wrestler match, and then all you have to do is just keep the fight standing?
Yeah, I mean that's what it's looking like for people on the outside. But he's a very good striker. Obviously, he's number 4 in the world. There's a reason for him being number 4 in the world. So yeah, it's definitely more than that in my opinion.
When you said you went into the dark place, you let yourself sit there for a bit, and then you got out. You talk about after you made the change, you left the police force, just the doubt of whether you made the right decision, or what? Talk to me a little bit about what that dark place was for you.
It's just you realize that there's a reason why you fall down. I lost, and I was down there. I was not really depressed, but you're down on yourself. You let yourself down. You feel like you let everyone who has been having your back for all these years has been, you let them all down. You let your training partners down, your wife down, everyone. So it's really just, not enjoying that feeling, but knowing that feeling, knowing what it feels like to be down there and using that as a driving force to never go back there.
And I think a lot of time us on the outside don't get to give the shine towards the people, the support system that helps bring you out as well. But who was there for you to help pull you out as well?
It was really, my wife, my brother, Pat over there, really just the guys that I train with every day. It's an individual sport, but you're not going to get ready for this individual sport without the team behind you. And whether that's in the gym or at home. And I think that's the biggest thing that most people don't talk about is the mental aspect of fighting. You literally can put anyone through a training camp and get them ready for a fight. It's the mental aspect that separates the good people from the greats. And I think that's the main thing that people need to focus on.
So how is life after the police force?
It's awesome. I literally just train and hang out with my son all day. It's awesome.
Has anybody reached out to you to try to bring you back into the fold, whether the old organization or other ones?
Other cops will make jokes and stuff he's he can't wait to bring the cuffs back out. But man, they're tucked away. They're in the bottom spot of my garage. They're not getting it anytime soon. So I'm happy with what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey, just one more for me.
Yep.
Obviously, heavyweight division, absolutely stacked. Everybody's super talented.
Yep.
Tom, Ty, you've been there with the top of the heap the whole time.
Yeah.
What do you say to the odds makers that have you as a huge underdog here in a division so competitive?
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care. I'm not really the betting type, but all the people that I know, they're going to be betting on me. That's fine. Make them a lot of money. Don't forget my Venmo when you hit big. And then, that's pretty much it.
That's good. Thank you.
Yep. All good? All right. Thanks, guys.
Hello. Hi.
You guys good? Alexa, how you doing?
Great, and you?
Welcome to Fight Week. It's been a little bit since you've been able to get in there. So was this? You have a lot of anticipation for this week, I guess, knowing that it's been such a long time since you fought.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here again. I'm happy that it's happening finally.
How frustrating is that for you, I guess, as a fighter, that knowing you wanted to get back in there, but you couldn't do it, sometimes for reasons beyond your control?
Well, life's like that. Sometimes you have to recover for all those situations and just look forward and doing your best, training every day, non-stop at the gym, and just waiting for these opportunities.
So when a fight gets pulled out from under you, like the last couple have been, I mean, how long does it take you to kind of mentally refocus? Do you have a few days where you just sit there and go, man, I'm ready to get back in there? And how long does it take you, I guess, to stop being frustrated when something like that happens?
Well, it was not frustration. It was just like a little sad, when you wanted to show your skills, show everything you've been doing. But like I said, unfortunately, sometimes things don't go our way, but we have to be ready. I just were just a few minutes, damn it. But then, okay, let's get to the gym.
You've had some time at flyweight now, so how has the adjustment, I guess, been overall? I mean, are you fully accustomed to that weight class, and are you a lot happier in this division?
Well, being honest, yes, I'm so happy to be flyweight now. My body is saying thank you. As I am getting older, of course, my body changed, and I think this is a very important new path.
You obviously had to pull out of this matchup, I guess last fall, several months ago. When they called you and said they were going to rebook it, was there something about this matchup that you definitely wanted to keep on the books and not have to think about a different opponent?
Yes, well, I wanted to fight Jojo because we have a similar style. We are both good strikers, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a showcase of a striking clinic.
Tell me a little bit more about what she brings to the table, and you know, I guess where she's dangerous. You mentioned her striking, but and you know, she's had some struggles the last few years. But where is she the most dangerous to you?
Yeah, I know that she might not be in the best situation right now, but if you see her other fights, she's a really good athlete. She's veteran. She has a lot of experience, and that's what I'm taking from that.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Alexa, your last fight, obviously against a big up-and-comer. You know, everyone's hyping her up, saying she's the next big thing, and you went in there, you did your job, you got the job done. Do you think this is a step down in competition for you, or are you ready for whatever comes in there this Saturday?
Can you repeat?
Do you think this is a step down in competition for you this weekend since your last fight? Since your last fight was such a big prospect, such a hyped up, they said she was the future, and you beat her decisively.
Oh, no. I take every fight pretty serious. I know that every opponent it's dangerous. Like I said, Jojo has a lot of experience on her game, on her record. She has more fights than me, and that's why I wanted to fight her. You know, fighting veterans is different to newcomers. So yeah, this is a very important fight. Also, she's number 7 right now. Then that's what I want. You know, be climbing on the rankings.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, guys, hold on. Let's bring them too quick. You good? How's it going, man?
Going great. How are you?
Good. Pretty big opportunity for you this week, obviously, against a name that's been around for a long time. Talk to me a little bit about the matchup, I guess, and what you thought when you initially got the call for it.
I initially got the call for it my last fight.
Mm-hmm.
He fell out in COVID and everything, and hopefully he's fully recovered and feeling great. I was excited for it then. I'm even more excited for it now, and I truly believe that it was meant to be here and this time and everything. Like live packed stadium in his hometown makes it even that much sweeter, that much greater, and I'm really excited for the matchup.
So when it got scrapped the first time, you at that point were like, God, I hope they put this back together again, or?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was like, well, obviously my focus switched, and it's like, I got to prepare for or get my mind right for whoever I'm going against. But right after, I was like, man, let's make this happen. I messaged the matchmakers, and they made it sound, unsure. Like, there was the chances were unlikely for it to happen again, to match up, and just the way things. I don't know if it was just because of COVID or what, but. The chances were unlikely, and thankfully it came together. I was pushing for it constantly on them, and then also pushing, on social media. And then I seen UFC Columbus. I know he's from here, so I was just like, perfect. Was like, messaged at him on Twitter and stuff like that too. Was like, let's make this happen. And thankfully it did. The contract came through, had his name on it, and I'm so happy about it.
We'll talk about that for a minute. The fact that he's fighting in front of his home fans. I mean, he'll get the big pop on Saturday night, of course. But you've been through that before too. I mean, you fight Jake Ellenberger kind of on
Jake Ellenberger. I fought Warley Alves in Brazil, in his hometown. So
does that matter to you? I mean, does it give you extra motivation? Does it extra chip on your shoulder, or is it one of those things where, you know what, man, the cage door closes, we could be on the moon, it doesn't matter?
Well, it honestly doesn't matter where we're fighting. I mean, we could be in the parking lot on Saturday night. It doesn't matter, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to give the performance that I know I'm going to give. And but really, being here in his own in his backyard, and anytime I fight in somebody's backyard, it's even better. Like, it gives me that much more excitement. Not so much like motivation, yes, I guess, but it just makes me that much more excited to get in there and really perform and put on a show for everybody in front of his fans. And I know I'll maybe get booed a little bit, maybe not. If people know how I fight, they know I'm going to bring it to them. So they're going to be excited for the matchup. And I truly believe this is the people's main event. And we're going to go out there and put on a show for these fans.
A little bit of an up and down run for you, I guess you'd call it the past few years, but now an opportunity to put something together for the first time in quite a while. What does that do in terms of, training camp, motivation, stuff like that, in terms of the mental side of the fight game?
Yeah, I've had some ups and downs, the last ones, like you said. But I've also been through some trauma situations in life, surgeries, almost dying, and was able to bounce back from that. So even coming back and, taking a loss off of something like that, well, that's not a big deal to me. I've already won. I'm here today, which is a miracle, and I'm happy to be able to still do what I love when told I might not be able to. So it's a win, and I'm going to go in there and I'm really feeling the best me yet, and I feel like I got those couple fights out of the way, coming back from injury and from death, and feeling great now, and I feel like I'm the best I've ever been, and I'm ready to show that.
Is that something that you think about every single day? Like, do you literally think about that surgery and everything that was behind it every day of your life since then?
Yes, not in like a scared sense of like it could happen again, or I may die at some point or something like that. Nothing like that. But yes, I always remind myself of that because I'm truly blessed. I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to have my family, to be able to spend another day with my family. Being away from them is that much more costly to me. It means that much more to be with them. And that's the most important part. And then, on top of it, I get to still do what I love, which is fight and get paid for it and be able to support my family for that. So I don't worry about it, but yes, I keep it as a constant reminder of let's get the most out of every single day.
Sure. Talk to me a little bit about, the matchup and what he brings to the table. I guess on paper, people would look at the two of you and maybe more than on paper, just look at your past fights and say, God, this is going to be, like you kind of alluded to, this is going to be a true scrap. I mean, a couple blue-collar guys here just to like to go in there and get dirty and get bloody.
Yep.
But what else does he bring to the table that you need to, perhaps concern yourself with on Saturday night?
He is a skilled veteran. He's been in there. He's been in there with some of the best in the world. And he's been able to, test himself and go against those guys and make things happen, come with wins. And still, even for his age, he's an old guy. He knocked out his last opponent. So, he's constantly expanding his game even still and constantly improving. So, there's always dangers in everywhere, but I'm continuing to get better. Like I said, I feel like the best I've ever felt, and continuing to improve my game. And I think when I get in there, I'm going to be able to take advantage of situations and get the best of him. And whether he wants to strike, whether he wants to wrestle, clinch, it doesn't matter. I believe I'm going to be the best in those situations.
Thanks, man.
Hey, just one more here. We don't see a lot of repeat nicknames in the UFC. Well, if it comes down to it, are you going to fight Tuivasa for your nickname back? I mean,
hey, I have been talking about moving up to heavyweight. I do like to eat, so if we want to do it, we can go for it. And I don't know if I want to go against him, as far as for the name. I've had this name since childhood. I was technically here first.
That's what I thought.
But I'm down to share it with such a beast and a guy who's doing some great things and seems like a hell of a guy and a fun guy. So
Thank you.
As an Ohio guy myself, I appreciate the outfit, which today looks like a nod to our agriculture here, I assume in Ohio, right?
Absolutely. To Ohio, to farmers, agriculture all the way around the world. I live in Tennessee now, and I've been there for 4 years and started building a farm out there and really getting into regenerative farming and giving back to the soil and building the soil and creating fresh food for my family, where we know exactly what's going into it and what they're eating, how they're being treated, and giving back to us and really going full circle.
That's fantastic. It sounds like that could be something stressful, but knowing what you do for a job, that's probably a nice break away from it, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. You know, it's, you know, people look at farming and it's a lot of work. It really is. You know, there's a lot behind it. But for me, it doesn't feel like work. Just like fighting doesn't feel like work to me. Like I really enjoy it, and farming on the other side is a lot more peaceful. Like for me, it's like I get to relax. I'm out there, you know, in the fields or whatever, working and, you know, with the animals, and it's just really peaceful for me.
And when you talked about this fight, how you really wanted this one to come back again around after you had set up for it, was there beef there, or was it just the fact at one point you got your mind set for it and then it didn't get to happen?
You know, never beef. I'm a fan. I'm truly a fan. I like Matt Brown. Actually, when I fought Warley Alves, he fought in the same card, and he didn't have a sauna suit or whatever, or sweet suit. I lent him my sauna, the rest of my sauna suit that I didn't use, and the sweet sweat and stuff or whatever. That was like my first interaction with him or whatever. Cool dude. He's great. He's a nice guy. And like I said, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of his fighting style. And yeah, it was never about beef of remaking the fight or, you know, being the one to take him out or anything like that. It's, you know, it's really a respect thing, and I'm honored to fight him. And like I said, I'm most excited about the fight because of the way he fights, and it makes me, you know, excited to fight him for that.
And with that, I mean, he hasn't had a title in the UFC, anything along those lines, but would this win be the biggest win in your career in the UFC?
I would say so, I guess. Yeah, I would say so. You know, I fought another legend in Jake Ellenberger, you know, he's definitely up there too. Yeah, it'll definitely be a nice feather in the cap.
And lastly, what color are we going with this week?
My daughter called it Galaxy for the fingernails and toenails, and it's just like, you know, we got some colors that she said are in space, the blue, the purple. We got
See the glitter, is that the
black
stars?
with the stars, yeah, and then we got like a little swirl going on there with in the black. So, and then of course pink. You know, you gotta have pink.
That's awesome. Do they travel with you? Are they here with you? Or
They are not here with me. They'll be here this weekend though.
Awesome.
For the fight.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys.
Thanks, man. Good, Kenny. How's it going, man?
You're good. How are you?
Good, man. Welcome to Fight Week.
Thank you.
What's it like being in the middle of America here? You're in Ohio. Like all your other previous fights have either been on your side of the world, on the other side of the world from here, or, you know, like in Vegas. So what's it been like this week being here of all places?
Yeah, I don't know where we are. It took a while to get here as well, like over 30 hours of transit. So just happy to be here, happy to be in front of a crowd again. You know, it's awesome that the UFC want to, you know, build my fan base in America and put me on these fight nights. It's great that it's not in the Apex, you know, back to normal now with, you know, packed house. So I welcome it. And yeah, I can't wait to, I guess, introduce myself to this, to Columbus, Ohio. So yeah, I can't wait.
In terms of, you know, the preparation this week itself, when you talk about such a long travel time to get over here and stuff, how much does that throw you off of any part of what you need to do on fight week when it comes to like weight cutting or just kind of the mental part of getting where you need to be for Saturday night?
This is all normal. Being a New Zealand UFC fighter, this is what we do. We travel all across the world and just no excuses. Turn up, make weight, and put on a show. So there's nothing new to me. You know, I've been doing this for over 10 years now. So yeah, I've always had to travel for fights, but I feel like it's time for the UFC to come back to New Zealand and put on a show for us. You know, we've really missed it the last 2 years, and having so many elite fighters coming out of our country, it would be awesome to bring it back and to showcase all this talent that we have back home. So not looking past Askar Askarov, but you know that would be, you know, the dream. Bring a title shot back to New Zealand and do it all on our home soil.
Talk to me about him as opponent. Obviously, you know, you're coming off a huge win, but this would be the kind of win that you could, I'm assuming, kind of stake your claim and say, hey, I need to be next in line, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, such a tough opponent in front of me, big challenge, but I welcome it. I want the best version of Askar Askarov, and I want him to strike with me. I want him to try get me down. I want him to try hold me down. And then when I neutralize that and I get back to my feet and I put my hands on him, find the targets and eventually find that shot, then there's not many guys in front of me after that. So that's all I'm kind of focused on. Pretty much after that Cody Garbrandt fight, when I got back to New Zealand, I was straight back in the gym. Pretty much left Vegas with a fight. And that's just where my head's at. I didn't want to wait around for a title fight and just wait and hope for things to happen and things to align. I just wanted to get back in there and show why I deserve to be the next guy. So taking, you know, one of the toughest guys in the division will put me kind of in that position where I won't be overlooked and people will be saying that this is a guy to watch. So that's all I'm focused on, and just whatever and what I'm focused on what I can control, and that's just turning up fight night, you know, and putting on a show.
You mentioned not wanting to sit around and wait for something like a title shot. I mean, the way things are going with those two, I mean, they might fight like 7 times in a row or something like that, right? I mean, you could be waiting a long time. Does that factor into it as well? And then I guess, do you feel like that's the right move if they do, you know, I don't think it's announced yet, but if they do fight a 4th straight time,
Yeah.
Are you cool with that? Or do you feel like, hey, man, let's mix things up a little bit?
Well, I guess I just got to go out there and show everyone why I deserve to be the next guy. And to do that, you got to be entertaining and you got to go out there and go for the finishes. So that's what I bring to the table. No other flyweights doing what I'm doing. Coming off 2 first round knockouts, beating a former champion in my last fight. I guess I've got that momentum, and with my opponent in front of me, he's coming off a year-long layoff, so I feel like that's going to play a factor in this fight. It's all fresh to me, you know. I know the feeling of fight week. I know the feeling of fight night. This title fight, that's they're doing the fourth fight. You know, it is what it is. I can't really, you know, dwell on it. I'm not really thinking about it at all. I'm just thinking about this fight in front of me. So, you know, their fights have been entertaining, you know, and people want to see it. And for the flyweight division, it's more eyes watching us, you know, more eyes tuning in. But when the time's right, I get past Askar Askarov, people are going to be wanting, you know, that I guess a fresh face and some new blood coming through, and I feel like it's my time. So, yeah, like I said before, I'm not overlooking anyone. I'm just focusing on my fight in front of me, and then when the time's right, then we'll look at the title fight.
You guys have both fought Brandon Moreno. Are you a film guy? Do you go back and look at his past fights in particular? And if so, did you look at his fight against him and sort of compare it to what you were able to do against him to kind of glean any kind of extra information about what he might bring on Saturday night?
Yeah, I don't watch too much footage on my opponents. I leave that to my coaches. You know, they're the best at doing that and breaking it down and then pretty much simplifying it and then telling me what I need to do. So I just focus on what I need to do rather than on my opponents. But yeah, we both fought the former champ Brandon Moreno. You know, I dropped him twice in the first round. A lot of positives I can take away from that fight, and you know, that just gave me the kind of confidence and reassurance that I know I'm one of the best guys in the world. You know, taking it to Moreno. You know, he's done great things since we last fought, and obviously we've both improved. And Askar Askarov had a great fight with him. You know, back and forth, scrambly, never really stopped, and just high pace. And that's what the flyweight division is doing at the moment. Every fight's delivering. You know, every fight's exciting, and that's a great place for the flyweights. At one point, a few years ago, people were saying, you know, this division's kind of done. There's not many guys for the champ to kind of fight. But now every fight night, every pay-per-view, at least one flyweight's getting a bonus, which is awesome. Coming off 4 bonuses now in my UFC stint, you know, that I'm just carrying that on, and I'm just going out there every time to kind of show people why they should be tuning in to watch us. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this division will, you know, for the future for us, and I feel like I'm the face of it. So I'm just going to carry on with this momentum and just get back to it. So I can't wait to get in there on Saturday. It's going to be my birthday, same night, 2029. So what better way to get a highlight reel and on my birthday.
Happy birthday in advance, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Cheers. That's us. Thank you, guys.
going, man? Good to see you again. Another opportunity for you to headline, which I think you're probably getting pretty accustomed to by now, right?
Yeah, I think this is the 5th one. Yeah.
Do you prefer that? Would you prefer being having the spotlight a little bit off you? What's your preference?
Honestly, I like it both. I don't really have a preference because I've had good experiences with being on the prelims. I've had good experiences with being the headliner and vice versa. I've had on like the placement of when I'm having the fight, just on the fight really.
When you do get the shot to headline, something for you from a mental standpoint?
Well, yeah, it's always a compliment when you're being told you're going to be the main event. Like you said, it means you can carry your card. It means the company believes in you, believes in the value that you bring. And in terms of training, I mean, the extra rounds, that's the biggest emphasis in me is more conditioning, pushing it a little harder, a few extra sparring rounds. Instead of just doing 4 or 5, we do 5 or 6 or 7 sometimes, just to really push the body, because who knows, we might be in for 5 rounds of war.
You've been pretty consistent the last few years in terms of how often that you've been fighting. It seems like it's been every 5 or 6 months or so. Is that the kind of pace that you like, that you're comfortable with, maybe twice a year? Or are you the kind of guy who, if they called you more often and said, hey, we want you in there every 3 or 4 months, you'd be in there that often?
It really depends on how the previous fight went. Like the Derek Lewis fight, I got KO'd, so I had to be out for a mandatory 6 months. The Jorginho fight, he fractured my orbital with the jumping knees. I wasn't able to spar for about 5 weeks. So it really depends on the damage taken. Like if I don't really take a lot of damage, I'm ready in just a few months. But if it was like Derek Lewis or Jorginho, or it's happened in other fights, even against Alistair, even though I beat him, I had a partially torn MCL from him attempting a knee bar. So it really just depends on the damage. I want to be healthy.
You guys have had some common opponents, I guess. Are you a guy who studies film, and if so, do you go back and look at his fights against guys that you've also fought to see if there's anything you can pull out of there, or does all the film study get left up to the coaches?
The coaches, they're the ones that pick the film, that pick the fights, but I will sit down with them and they'll point out things that they've highlighted, things that they think matter. But yeah, I let them like direct it. Like, I'm involved, but they're directing it.
He's coming off a loss, but he had built up a nice little run there, and kind of in a hurry, I guess. Do you look at this as the type of fight that keeps you in the title picture? Is he the type of opponent that a solid win over him, you're right there still?
Yeah, like you said, he's become a name in this company now. He is highly ranked. You don't just get ranked for nothing. So yeah, a win over him, hopefully a finish over him that keeps me in title contention, because yeah, we don't know what's going on with Stipe, John, Gan, and Ngannou. There's a lot of just stagnation. So I'm just really just trying to maintain my position. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit, I guess, about what he brings to the table. I'm sure he's watching out for your wrestling, but what does he bring that you maybe have to look out for that he might be dangerous with on Saturday night?
We know he's a very technical striker. He has nice, crisp boxing. Obviously, he has jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt, so gotta be prepared for whatever heel hooks and e-bars, whatever type of craziness he might be trying to whip out. But besides that, just the basics. That's the beauty of this division. Everyone's a a threat. There isn't any heavyweight that you can ever take like, oh, he's just a guy. It's heavyweight. Any 250-pound man hits you in the face, it could be lights out. So that's enough for me to be giving him my full attention.
You're not too far from home. I mean, kind of, a nice little half-day drive, I guess. Are you bringing a lot of friends and family over with you, I guess? And then how badly do you want to be able to fight in Chicago again? I mean, it's been, I guess probably 4 years since you were able to fight at home. Is this close enough for now, and then you're hoping that they get back there soon?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know. A lot of fighters, I can't remember their names, but I've seen articles where they get asked that. A lot of fighters, we don't want to be at home because there's already enough pressure. Like, it's going to be pressure if I'm fighting in Brazil, if I'm fighting in Japan, or if I'm fighting in Chicago. But when it's in Chicago, everyone just expects, like, oh, he's going to destroy this guy. It's a fight, man. We don't know. So, honestly, if they do have another one in Chicago, yeah, I like to be on it, but I'm not like, it's not a heavy emphasis for me. I could go the rest of my career without ever fighting there again. I did it once. It was amazing, but it was also a little nerve-wracking. So,
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
How's it going, man?
I'm good.
Obviously, a big card this weekend. London heavyweights are super competitive nowadays. The division's super tight. Tom Aspinall jumped 5 spots with a win over Volkov this weekend. After this fight, obviously you're not looking past Chris, but is he somebody on your ranking that if you get this done, he's the name coming up and he might be able to put you through in terms of the reach and the media and the popularity if you get a win over a guy like that?
Like I said, I think anyone in the top 5, anyone, Tuivasa, Stipe, any of those guys, if Aspinall is ranked above me, that's a worthy opponent for me. And yeah, he's also another guy who's built up a name really fast. He just got a finish over Volkov, someone I highly respect because I've been in the octagon with him. That is not easy to do. So yeah, if that happens, I win over him also. It really just maintains. I'm a realist. I understand this division. This division is Ngannou, Gane, and there's always room for a third. That third might be Stipe, it might be me, but I'm being honest. Like, I just got to keep winning. You keep winning, you stay relevant.
And for this weekend, he's known for getting in, getting out, 1 round, 2 rounds max. The plan is deep waters for you. Feel him out at 1-2 rounds, and then make sure that he gets to feel what 5 rounds feels like.
The plan is to be organic. We don't rush. We don't force things. We don't hunt things. Like, if it goes 1 round, great. If it goes 4 rounds, okay. If it goes 5 rounds, okay. We don't hunt. It's organic, and if it happens, it happens.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I was talking to Chris earlier, and I said, some people might look at it and just say, hey, this is a wrestler versus a striker kind of thing. But for you, that you said earlier, you were working extra rounds on the striking. Is the wrestling at this point, is it so good? Do you still work it in training, or is it that you just kind of focus on the other aspects that you think might come up in this fight, or do you still hit the wrestling pretty hard as well?
I wrestle once a week, and that's been my schedule for the past 6 years. I've always put a lot more energy into my striking just because I have a lot more ground to cover. I've been doing wrestling since 2005. I've only been seriously into striking since 2015, so there's just a 10-year gap. So yeah, I put a lot more emphasis on my striking, and I don't think it's the striker versus the wrestler. I believe I'm a very good striker also. I've got a few strikers in our division's history. I've been on the feet with Ark Hunt. I've been on the feet with Alistair. Like I said, Junior Dos Santos, Eric Lewis. Yeah, I lost in this. He was able to knock me out, but that first round, if you watched it, I owned him on the feet. I didn't get a takedown. I owned him on the feet. So this idea that I don't know how to strike, I don't know where that comes from, because I believe I've shown I have skills in my striking.
So now at this point in your career, it's almost like the wrestling only pulls out when maybe somebody is just really, really faulty in that area, or maybe if
Yeah.
you need a backup, or if you're maybe hurt and you need to kind of go back to that.
Or if it's just obvious, like I'm never gonna just if you're just standing straight up, why not? Why not? It's not hard. And I know people would be like, well, why not just knock him out? I don't know. That's just not how my brain's wired. I see wide open hips. I want to shoot. I don't know. So, yeah.
So when you look at him, does he look like he would be, from what you've seen from past fights, does he look like he would be an easy takedown target?
No. I think the easiest one, and it's not someone that anyone would have thought, Volkov. I was able to take him down 15 times, and no one would have thought that. So you never know. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking about that fight with Volkov, and then you're talking about Tom, does it ever frustrate when some of these guys that are coming up seem to be getting a lot more hype and push after only a couple wins, as opposed to guys like you that have been grinding for longer and longer and working through more and more gentlemen than they have?
I'm not going to say I've been grinding harder or longer, but it doesn't frustrate me. I mean, they deserve hype. I deserve hype. It doesn't really bother me just because I'm not focused on being famous. I enjoy competing at a high level in athletics. I enjoy getting paid for what I do, which is we get paid well, and I enjoy my family and friends being able to be like, I'm something they can brag about. Like, hey, this is my brother. Or, hey, this is my son, or this is my dad. Like, I like that, so that's enough for me. The other stuff, it'll happen. It'll happen eventually.
The last one that kind of piggybacks off that sounds like it's almost like a very blue-collar mentality, about fighting. So when you're fighting in a place like Columbus, which is a very blue-collar town, do you think you're going to get an extra pop from the people that your fight style and that the way you carry yourself maybe will resonate with them a little bit more?
I think so. I hope so. I know Ohio has a very good, strong tradition in high school wrestling and collegiate wrestling. Ohio State is very good. But I know high school-wise, like, this state loves wrestling. So I'm just hoping they can appreciate it.
Awesome. Best of luck.
Thank you.
To piggyback on that with the thought of Columbus, the home of Kevin Randleman, rest in peace, Mark Coleman. Are there anything that you have a connection to Columbus that you're going to bring into Saturday night?
No, actually. I don't have a connection with Columbus. The closest I've ever been to Columbus was Cleveland, Ohio, back in 2012 when I was out here helping Stipe get ready for Gabriel Gonzaga. That was the closest I came to being out here. But I've always had friends because I wrestled at NIU, and it felt like half our roster was from Ohio. So I know a lot of guys from Beaverton, or I don't know anyone from Columbus, but from all over the state. So, and it does feel like home a little bit, just the Midwest vibes, the personality. Because I walked around a little bit yesterday, and everyone's just real nice, real like, hey, how you doing? And you don't get that everywhere. So that's how you know you're back in the Midwest, and I like that.
Talk about your strength and conditioning a little bit. How many days a week, and what exactly are you doing?
For strength and condition, I do that 3 times a week. It's a lot. It's a lot. My strength and conditioning coach is also my striking coach. I wish he was here to give you, because he would love to just dive into that. He puts us through it, though. It's a lot. I know it sucks. I actually have video of it. I'm working on starting up a YouTube page. I'm going to start posting more. I know that's what everyone does, how you grow your fan base. So you guys will get to see it, but it's hard to describe. Just a lot of aerobic, just a lot of, we wear the heart rate monitors, and he likes to have us in the red light the whole time, as long as you can be there without passing out. So we spend a lot of time in the red zone.
Appreciate it.
What other stuff are you going to put on that YouTube channel? Are you going to do some dance routines like everybody on social media does, or what are you going to do?
I don't do the TikTok dance. I don't even have a TikTok. It'll be mostly training stuff, a little bit of like hanging out with the guys. I always got to ask them, like, do you guys mind if I post this? Because it's not always for the public. But it'll be like 80% MMA stuff and 20% filler, like, oh, we're eating this or we're watching this, a little bit of that.
Do you have aspirations to do coaching or any of that sort of stuff afterwards?
Yes, I do aspire to be a MMA wrestling coach eventually, yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Если что, просто смотри на меня, я сразу перевожу. Если что-то не понимаешь, смотришь, я перевожу. Okay?
Aleksei, how are you, man? Good to see you.
Hello, thank you.
talk to me a little bit about this fight, because it seems like it's a pretty important one for you. First time in your career that you need to bounce back from, from 3 straight losses. So this seems like a pretty big deal, pretty big, important moment for you.
Each fight important for me, and important not. I don't look on the previous my fights. I don't look. I lost 2 fights. I must win. Of course, I must win every time. Sometime in my life, I have 10 wins a row, and of course, I don't planning for loss. Nobody don't planning loss. I hope in UFC. And I never planning loss and in my previous fights. Of course, now I can explain. In this fight, I must little bit change my game plan, maybe my something on the fight, and I can win. And I really think I can win in each my fight before. But any fighters, any people can make mistake and lose.
So because you've had so many of those moments in your career where you've had so many wins in a row, when you do come in a situation like this, is that what you're saying, that it forces you to kind of look and say, okay, maybe I need to tweak this just a little bit and change this just a little bit going into this next one?
Yeah, of course. I'm 44 and I'm still learn my technique, my mistake, my not mistake, what I do in my previous fight. It's not depend. I win or I lose, and I learn in my gym every time. Of course, I learn always and still learn slowly, but learn.
Talk to me a little bit about Latifi as an opponent. He was at light heavyweight not that long ago, but what do you make of him at the bigger weight since he's moved up? Do you see any changes in him as opponent compared to what he was before when he was lighter?
When he fight in the light heavyweight and he train in American top team, he weight more than me who fight in heavyweight. That's mean that's not very important for me, and I think not important for him, because he can be more fresh. He don't need cut weight. He don't need make many things, regeneration, everything like this. He really strong guy. We training together. Sometimes we wrestle or sparring together. Of course, he knows my strong sides, and I know his strong sides. Mm-hmm. And this sometimes this is more difficult, but sometimes this is more interested, because you must work and you might more than with guys who don't know you.
You're going to have some height on him, you'll have some reach on him, but do you think that matters in this fight for him? Because pretty much anybody he's been in there with has been taller than him, and most of them have had a reach advantage with him.
I think that's not important in martial arts, because Mark Hunt is very short, yes, but he KO Derek Lewis. But I win Mark Hunt, but I lost Derek Lewis. This is not mathematic algorithm. This depends of many things, other things too.
You are so deep into your fighting career. I mean, it's hard to find anybody else out there that's active that's had as many fights as you and as much experience as you. I'm sure you've been at the point for a few years now where, every time you fight, people are going to ask, okay, do you see the end of the road? And is that something that you think about? Because you did also just mention earlier that you're still learning, every time you go out there. So is retirement something that you think about, and when might that come?
First time I'm think about retiring in 2001, and I said I finished. This was 21 years ago. I'm no fight, no any fight, no any training. After I start training again, I fight in, I don't remember, maybe 2006 or 2007, I finish again. And I no fight 1.5 year. And as you know, I still fight, and I fight not in the small promotion, I fight in UFC, and thanks God for that. Thanks God, thanks my promotion company, Dominance, and thank you, Dana White, for that. But first time is God, of course, because I'm not only fighter, I'm win. I was a main event in the first Russian UFC. I fight with Mark Hunt, with other cool stars, with legend of mixed martial arts. Of course, I look for my end of my various road, but today I am here. I am for this table. I hold this microphone and I speak with you.
Appreciate it, man.
What is tomorrow? I don't know, and you don't know what is tomorrow too. Nobody know.
Sure. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Hey, Aleksei, how are you?
Good. Thank you.
There's very few specialists left in the UFC, people who specialize in one area specifically and are just so dominant in that area, where when they come into every single fight, the opponent knows more or less what they're going to try to do, but they have very, very little chance at stopping it. We're seeing a lot of well-rounded fighters, people who are very, very good in every area, but not necessarily dominant in one specific area anymore. Do you think that you're the last of a dying breed of specialists in MMA or in UFC or in combat sports in general?
You mean about Ilir?
Specialist. You're a very specialist type of fighter.
Насчет тебя спрашивает, что таких специалистов, как ты, осталось очень мало. Людей, которые, в принципе, все соперники знают, что он будет делать, но все равно не могут остановить его, поскольку человек такой специалист в своем деле. Считаешь ли ты, что ты последний из таких вот специалистов, которые остались?
Спасибо.
You know, 20 years ago, I look for the star, and I see, oh, they superstar like Igor Vovchanchin, like Mark Coleman, Dan Severn, and now you don't speak with this guy, about this guy. I know this guy. I know this guy personally. I give big respect to this guy. When I meet, I say my biggest respect for you guys. But our общество,
Our community.
our community live faster and faster and faster, and we need more hype, more. You understand? More reclama.
More commercial, more advertisement for us.
Yes, and of course I know one of the maybe not first stars, first legends, but I'm second or third. I don't know. I am last of the Mohican, yeah. I don't know. Last samurai. This no matter. Like I am explained, I don't know what is tomorrow. I know only today. 1 week ago, I have a good, great sparring in American top team. I fight with young guys who 20, 25, 30 years. They fighters PFL, Professional Fight League. They fighters Bellator. They fighters UFC. They're very young, very big, bigger than me, and 10, 20 kilos, and they're super strong. And many times this guy tap and tap. But this not mean I can submit any guys in any fights. Yes, of course. But I train with this guy. I think I'm not worse. I still good. I still can punch. I still can wrestle. It's okay. If I train with this guy and I understand I lost from the 10 guys in the middle.
And when tomorrow finally does come and you decide, my fighting career has been incredible.
I don't know, but right now I'm a little bit tired from martial arts. I'm not bad coach. I'm a very good coach. I have many students who have a belt on the many league, other league, like ACA, like M1 Russian, like KSW Poland, like many other good league. Not greatest, but very good league. I have many students who got black belt from me. They come to me with white belt, and I am learn, and to black belt. And this many guys, very a lot. Say, give me again, give me more, maybe 1 year.
Perfect.
But now only my fight.
Ever see like a professional sambo league taking off? Like we've seen the rise of sport karate again on Fight Pass and other sport-specific things like obviously grappling is through the roof with jiu-jitsu.
Кажется тебе, что спортивная самбо тоже станет спортом, который будет интересовать людей, так как сейчас есть спортивное карате, теперь, конечно же, есть джиу-джитсу турнаменты, но будет ли такое, что именно только вот боевое самбо станет тем, что люди будут смотреть и хотеть видеть?
Thank you. I don't think sambo or sport sambo or combat sambo, UFC and other promotion. But my opinion, then more different martial arts, then better. Then martial arts good. Martial arts starting. Like karate from Japan or sambo from Russian or something healthy, I don't know. They stay more healthy, more stronger. And you know, my opinion, because if you study martial arts, you study life. Sure. You push somebody push you. You punch somebody punch you. You a lot push-ups or make biceps or everything. This still наука.
It's a whole art. It's a study that you have to continue, like a science.
Thank you.
What kind of recovery do you do after training in a fight camp?
После того, как ты тренируешься в файт-кемпе, как ты отдыхаешь, как ты обратно возвращаешься в норму?
Before fight?
После файт-кемпа, как ты возвращаешься, как бы отдыхаешь, отходишь от этого?
You know, first 20 years I'm fight on the next day. I training on the gym. First 20 years, but last 4-5 years I just live like usually life. I live with my trees. Okay. My daughter have a farm. I can feed bird. I can. На лодке плавать.
Boating. He does boating.
I'm boating on the ocean or lakes. I'm fishing. I'm just relaxing, just usually life.
So what's your favorite kind of fishing? Like what are you fishing for?
Какой рыбалкой занимаешься, кого любишь, кого ловишь?
Any fishing on the fresh water, bass, not too big, not too small, and sometimes we go into ocean fishing. A few times we fish a shark, bull shark, but just for picture we release, let them go after picture, and we fishing. I don't remember what is breed or name fish, just for eating. But this, thank you. All good, guys? Have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jojo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Fight Week.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome to be here.
You excited?
Really excited. Good to be back on the road and looking forward to the Columbus crowd.
Tell me about that. Is that something that you look forward to? Being able to travel and get away from home a little bit, or does that kind of mess with your routine in other ways when it comes to weight cuts or having the right kind of food that you need?
Yeah, it's always a worry about, is it going to have a tub and how are we going to cut weight? And that's already a stressful time, but I have good people around me. We have the access to the UFC PI, the nutritionists are on point with everything, so that kind of takes the stress away. But it is still a little bit doubt in your head, but yeah, so far so good, and definitely prefer being home for that kind of stuff because I get to cook and stuff. But I love to travel and get away for that we can see different places.
Big opportunity, obviously. High up on the card, co-main event, and a pretty important fight. It seems like for you to be able to get back on track. Kind of snap that skid. Talk to me about the preparation for this one, and is there pressure, I guess, that goes with having lost a couple fights in a row? Is there pressure that comes in a training camp when you have that in the rear view?
For sure, there's always pressure. Just being a fighter itself, we need to win, just to take half our money away. So yeah, there's pressure, but like everyone says, you try not concentrate on that and just go in there and work hard, lead up to it, and then hopefully it's a good day in the office. Very excited to get back in there. It's only been a couple of months since my last fight. Even though it didn't go my way, I'm still glad to get back in there and get back in the win column.
Obviously, this was a matchup that was supposed to take place before. Was there something about this fight, this opponent, that you definitely wanted to make sure it got rebooked when it came up again?
Yeah, as soon as I heard Grasso was coming up to flyweight, I was like, geez, I would love that fight, and I think I tweeted her that let's do it. I know she's a very exciting fighter. She's very well rounded, but she's also a strawweight coming up, so that's one thing that interested me.
Talk to me a little bit about what she brings to the table, her skill set, where she's dangerous to you. You did mention, obviously, that she's up at flyweight now, so some of the struggles that she had before when she was 10 pounds lighter, you would, I guess, have to assume that she's not going to have the same struggles maybe going into fight week now. But what does she bring to the table once you guys hit the cage?
Well, I've heard nothing but great things. She's good on the mic. So, yeah, I think for me, I'm a fan of watching her fights. She's a great boxer. Like I said, she's very well-rounded. And, yeah, I think me and her match up really well and make an exciting fight, and that's what I'm always looking for. It'll be good to, obviously she's fought at flyweight before, but I see, I think me and her, for me, she's going to be the first one that I've fought that's coming up. Everyone else came down, so that's the thing that excites me.
You feel like you'll potentially have some strength advantage in there once you guys get in there then?
Or it's going to be similar.
Just looking at kind of her resume on paper, she's only been put away, I guess, probably one time. She's also not been putting people away herself, so she seems to go the distance a lot. Is that something that goes into your preparation, thinking that this might be a grinder, this might need to drag out for 15 minutes?
Yeah, definitely, especially the way judges score, especially legs. Mixed martial arts supposed to be we box, we elbow, we kick, but we've seen it time and time after that these judges are scoring boxing #1, and which for me, I'm like, anyone can throw a punch. It takes more skill to throw kicks and elbows and those kind of things. But for this fight, I feel like, yeah, it could potentially go to the decision, the judges. So I for sure have took that into consideration, that I need to be more volume, more heavy on my boxing and not be the way I am like with my boxing, elbows, kicks and that kind of thing. So mixing it up more. For me, I know I have to have that in the back of my head, that she's going to be boxing a lot, so I'm going to have to outbox her.
Even though you've got a couple losses in a row, you're in a division where, hey, it might only take a couple wins in a row, particularly over good names, and you're right there in that mix. You've been doing this for a long time. Title aspirations still the thing that's kind of in the back of your head, where, you know, when you're going through training camps and when you're in the gym each day, or are you kind of a one fight at a time and let's see what happens after the next one kind of fighter?
It's kind of a little bit disheartening when I think about my journey and then think about the title, because it's like I've been so close so many times, well, not so many times, a couple of times, and then it's just not happened for me. But I'm someone that never gives up, and if it's going to happen, then I need to do my job on Saturday. I need to win and then keep winning, and then it will happen. But I have a good case, because right now Valentina's up there and she's taken out all the girls that are above me and that have fought me. So I've still got that chance because I've not fought her yet, you know. So, but like I said, do my job Saturday, win. As fighters, we have to win to put that case out there.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you.
You said that Valentina's up at the top, taking out a lot of the women that you've already fought. With a victory on Saturday, do you think maybe a match between the two of you in Scotland would be possible?
Ooh, Scotland, now we're talking. That would be a dream come true. So, for sure. Obviously, we don't make the matches. We have to go in there, perform, win. But yeah, that would be a dream.
How much different was this camp than previous camps for you?
I guess I could do more stand-up this camp. And yeah, so that's always fun for me. Yeah, I would say I can put more boxing together for this camp, and yeah, that's only obviously doing the rest, but yeah.
So in all the times that you talk to the media or you've been on the radio or television, you've been asked a bunch of questions, probably mostly about fighting. But what is like one thing that we don't know about you that you want people to know?
Like, what kind of subject would you like, or?
Maybe something about your personal life, maybe a taste in music. Is there a hobby that you have that most people aren't aware of?
I mean, most people that follow me would probably know that I like golf. Like, I like to golf, and yeah. But like I said, if anyone follows me, they probably know that. Personal life, I can't. What do you say, Mr. Wood? I'm sure you've got a lot, but we'll leave that. Yeah.
What's your handicap? Can I ask?
I've never actually done a full course. Hopefully for retirement, that's my plan, to get around a full golf course, because it's so time consuming.
Awesome, thank you.
But I've got a good swing.
All right, that's great. That's awesome.
Along those lines, especially since you said, you tossed a nod to Mr. Wood, I feel like we haven't checked in. How is married life treating you? Since you talk about the journey, I feel like we saw you come on the scene as a fighter and then watched. Next thing you know, there's married JoJo. How's married life, and how's that affecting fighting as well?
Yeah, he probably knows more than me about myself. Yeah, it's awesome. It still cracks me up when I'm changing my name or someone sees it's just Wood. They're like, what happened to the
As opposed to
first part?
Calderwood.
Yeah, it's like what happened. So that's still buzzing from the wedding, and it feels good to be a married woman.
That's awesome. Well, just looking back, the last one, just looking at those last fights, even though they were losses, I thought we saw gains. I thought there were great moments of gains that you've had. When you look at those last ones, are there still positives you took away from there that you felt like going to the camps prior to those, that you had made gains in areas and that areas of your fight game have stepped up?
For sure, I was winning that round, but that's MMA for you. You know, don't give up until the very last, the bell goes. You know, because anything can happen. And for me, I took away what I've been thinking about or trying to work on for my whole career, having my hands up and not getting tall like Muay Thai stance. But for me, for the last camp especially, I was like, geez, you can do everything can go perfect. You can do everything, like turn up early, do everything the right way, and it can still not go your way. And that's disheartening a little bit, but at the same time, when things do go wrong, and things have went wrong in this camp, I'm like, it doesn't matter, you know. It's a fight at the end of the day, so I'm just looking forward to getting back in there and getting back in the win column.
And with her fight style, is this the perfect fight to test the gains that you've gotten in your striking? Do you feel that she's the perfect opponent? Because she always seems willing to stand in the middle and throw hands. Is this the perfect opponent to test to see where your hands where they've gotten to?
Yeah, for sure. I'm always hoping for that perfect dance partner. You know, that we are, the old school Muay Thai way. You know, we're just standing there and we're banging it out. There's no groundwork or no taking it to ground. And I think my chances are very high with Aleksei Grasso. But obviously she's very well-rounded, so you have to be smart and go in there with everything in mind that you have to win. You have to win in the judges' eyes and all that.
Awesome. Thanks, JoJo. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hey, Jojo, just last one here. This weekend we saw a really great card in London. Molly McCann put on quite a show, crazy finish. Does that put pressure on women's MMA to get crazy finishes like that? Do you see a fight like that, a finish like that, and think, that's what I have to do now? I have to top that? I have to do better than a spinning elbow? Or do you think it's just one-off, we take it as it is and leave it there?
Come on, you're not getting better than a spinning elbow. Like, yeah, I'm buzzing. I'm a little bit sad that I wasn't there fighting, because that card was unreal, still buzzing from it. But yeah, like I said, you're not going to get better than that. It was picture perfect. Happy for Molly, and obviously I'm hoping to keep the momentum going and put on a great performance in the co-main event.
So next card is going to be in Scotland. Yourself, Paul Craig, Casey O'Neill, Molly McCann, the whole crew. That's the plan.
Hey, do you know something that I don't?
I know nothing, but I'm hoping so.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping for that too.
Thank you.
on, right?
А, смотри, можно минуточку подождать? А нельзя его там рядом посадить, да? В прошлый раз тоже Ризвана, они рядом посадили, он потом плохо...
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Sure.
Ему в ухо просто надо говорить.
Right. So that's fine. Okay.
Да, да, да. С этой стороны...
Они должны проверить, можно ли ему сидеть рядом.
Окей. С этой стороны сядь.
No.
Не, тебе не нужно.
No, you have one on stage.
Видишь, он даже не услышал.
You guys are good. Big opportunity for you this week against another top-ranked opponent. Take me through a little bit about what you thought about the matchup when you got the call for it.
Говорит, очень большой шанс для тебя. И что ты думаешь о нем, и очень сильный соперник.
Кайкара – это очень сильный соперник для меня, опытный ударник. Ну, как я готов, как остальные бои я выиграл, есть которые соперники сильнее Кайкара. Надеюсь, я могу бой закончить досрочно. Посмотрим.
Kai Kara-France is a very tough opponent and very good striker. I have been fighting with the better guys in this division, so it's nothing new for me. I'm just gonna go there and do my thing, and I can finish the fight. I can see that I can finish him.
Talk to me a little bit about the recovery from the injury. That means you've been out for a year or so. How excited, I guess, are you to get back in there and finally be able to fight again? And how has the injury recovery been?
Насчет операции я прошел хорошую реабилитацию, чувствую себя отлично, благодаря UFC все у меня отлично, я могу сейчас подраться.
The recovery was good, and I felt great. Now I feel great too. I want to thank UFC for all opportunity that they helped me with my surgery and all these things. I feel back and I'm ready. My injury is good now. I don't have injury and all good.
Looks like I don't think it's been announced yet, but Moreno and Figueiredo are going to fight a fourth straight time. They're the only two that are ahead of you in the rankings. So what do you feel about them fighting again? And does a win Saturday obviously keeps you right where you want to be able to say that you should be next in line for a title shot?
Что ты думаешь насчет Фигуредо и Брайана Морено? Четвертый бой они ставят, говорит, и ты рядом находишься в субботу, если выиграешь. Что, как ты думаешь, как
насчет Фигуейредо Морено, я думаю, четвертый бой это решающий поединок, потому что я не могу драться после этого боя, потому что у меня будет Рамадан месяц. После их боя, я думаю, кто-то выиграет, и Кайкара, кто из нас выиграет, я думаю, следующий бой будет за титул.
I think this fourth fight will be the last one of Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo. And I think who wins this Saturday, me or Kai Kara-France, will next on the line for the title shot.
You had a fight with Brandon Moreno that was a draw. Do you think back on that fight ever and think, geez, if that went my way, had I won that fight, this entire trajectory of the division might have been different than what it's been the last year or so?
Насчет Марена, когда я дрался в Мексике, это была моя первый бой. Первый бой меня сразу подписали, я вышел там месяц, и времени тоже очень мало было на подготовку. На этот раз, я думаю, я буду 100% готов, если будет Марена. Я хочу его сломать полностью.
The first fight with Moreno, I didn't have a time for training camp for anything. I didn't train for 1 year almost, and didn't fight. When they told me to fight with Moreno, I had 1 month to fight him, and I fought him in Mexico. So it's weather is different there, and actually Askar didn't eat meat that time, like because of because he have to eat halal meat, he didn't eat meat, so it was hard for him, for training camp, for everything. But this time, if I'm gonna fight him, he said he's gonna break him. If he's gonna have a time to get ready for this opponent, doesn't matter for Moreno or Figueiredo, he's gonna break them.
Также, когда после меня Марена вышел за титул, он не хотел со мной драться. Он выбрал себе легких соперников, потому что он знает, что у меня лучшая борьба, ударка. На второй бой он знает, что не будет так легко, что я его сломаю. Он поэтому выбирает себе легких соперников. Пусть дальше тоже так же выбирает. Но все знают, что я очень сильный, что король, я в этом весе. Скажи ему, чтобы король уже вернулся.
And still beat him. I'm the king of this jungle, and tell
here in Ohio, right?
Ready to go, and all the other stuff kind of doesn't matter. But it'll be nice after the fight. My kids will be right here with me, and all my friends and family. So that's what's after the fight is when it really kicks in and when it's cool.
At the same time, not going to, mention the R word or anything like that, but when you look back one day, will it be kind of special to be able to have done it here one more time rather
Absolutely.
than... Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully we can make it every year again or something, I don't know.
Yeah, like it used to be back in the
Yeah,
day.
it kind of used to, during the Arnold's.
You got back on track, obviously in a pretty big way last summer, so talk about the opportunity to be able to build on that and get a little bit of momentum here.
Well, I mean, when that cage door closes, no one gives a shit about your momentum, and it doesn't mean a thing once you get in there and the fists are flying. So that's all my focus is right now. That's all I care about right now. Let's get in there and be the best I can be so that I can smash this guy before he smashes me.
Talk about that matchup because, people look at your guys' fights and they say, man, this is, on paper, this is one of those fight of the nights before it happens kind of situations. You're both kind of that.
They're certainly going to make for a good matchup. I think it's going to be an exciting fight. But I think I'm a lot better than him, so I think a lot of times we expect these fight of the nights and they don't end up that way, right? Or we expect the likelihood that I just go in there and make him look bad. So that's what I plan on doing, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for a fight of the night. I'm looking to go showcase myself.
This fight was supposed to take place a few months ago. It
Yes.
obviously got pushed back. Was there any point that you wondered if maybe it wouldn't get rebooked? And I guess how excited were you that it did get rebooked? Because obviously it seems like you feel like this is a matchup that you can
book it for next week or something. And he was like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen with your COVID. Ready to go. Let's get something booked. And just so happened that Barberena tweeted like right around the same time that he wanted me again. And I said, all right, well, let's make this easy on Sean. Let's go.
He talked to us earlier about, basically, being a fan of yours from way back. You'll probably run into that situation a few more times if you keep doing this, right? I mean, because you've been around, you've been in there.
I've run into it before, yeah.
Yeah. When you look back on this one day, what do you think you'll feel about situations like that where you're fighting guys who say, man, I love that guy as a fighter. Like, I'm a fan of that guy as a fighter, and I got to fight him.
Well, I've had that same situation myself, so I know exactly what that's like. I don't have any idea. I don't know. It's something I never really thought about. I said I felt that way, like I fought Condit. I was a huge fan of his before I ever got in the UFC, watching him in the WEC. That was probably one of the biggest moments, or Almeida, Ricardo Almeida, like I was a huge fan of his in Pride, and then ended up fighting him. So I don't think all that stuff really means a whole lot.
How much longer?
9 years. I forgot I'm 41.
I mean, anymore, there's no reason why that can't be a thing, right?
I don't see any reason why not. I keep my brain intact, but it's been healthy so far. I did I do the Cleveland Clinic study. I'm sure you guys all know about. My scores have improved over time, actually, which is crazy, So as long as my brain's intact, man, like I can just keep going. But who knows, man? I take it one fight at a time. So, that all could change next week, and be like, what, screw this. And it's in the waiting. I could do it basically till I die, I think.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there, when you talk about, some of the names that you rambled off, I mean, it's like a who's who of guys that have been around for a while. Are there still guys that are still in the game that you've always respected, that you always want, that you still would like to get in there? No beef, not even worried about getting the title or whatever, but other guys that you're like, man, I would have thought that we would have crossed paths by now. Are there any that are still in there that you would like to, but just because out of respect that they're still grinding like you are?
That's a good question, to be honest. I'm sure there is. No one's coming to mind straight away, but I'm 100% sure that.
As much as we think what we would, knowing what they're trying to do and the studies and trying to keep track of all the, the onset of CT and all this other stuff, when you talk to other fighters, are you hearing it that maybe we aren't? Do you think fighters are utilizing that like they should be?
I haven't heard other fighters talk about it either, to be honest. So
you really
maybe
don't.
they are, maybe they're not. And I don't think I even went there last year. So, I originally got set up on it like just to get a free MRI. I think it was when I turned 35 because I had to get the brain scan, and my manager at the time was like, "Hey, you can get it for free if you do this study." And I was like, "All right, well." 800 combat sports athletes involved, and they, the brain, over this guy had this many, putting you into groups like this guy had this many won.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think that you're doing, or what's maybe changed that your brain is actually functioning?
I make sure like I just stop right there, even not even necessarily concussion, but if I just get hit hard, I just stop right there in training. You got to get the pride and the ego out of it once in my life, and after I did that, I made sure that I ate ketogenically for about a month, living healthy and being exercising and taking care.
As being both of you mutually are crowd-pleasing styles?
Oh, absolutely. It's very possible. I think it's very possible that the fight ends up like that, and I think that's really going to be up to me. Best, this would be a walkthrough for me.
Awesome. Best of luck.
I know Dorian Price is back for this fight
Sir.
camp, and one of the best ever to do it in mixed martial arts with Muay Thai. Can you talk about Dorian's Muay Thai and how that has an effect on your fighting style?
Yeah, so it's just great having him, man. He's been an influence. He was my first coach ever. He was the first person, one of the first people I ever met when I walked into a martial arts gym, and here he is, 15, however many, 16, 20 years later. So, we're together till the end.
The first coach that when you walked into a gym, you're kind of that for a lot of kids today. Your gym, Immortal Martial Arts Center, is up and running here in Columbus, and I don't really hear you talk a whole lot publicly, and this I think would be a great opportunity to hear.
Filling things in my life are resilient people, man, and constant influence of weakness they got around them. Like everywhere they go, you just see this pussy culture around them, and beautiful thing for the next generation. But they may be the few and the far between is the unfortunate part.
Being in your corner to hear the news.
Different guy now and person to have in the room. But now with him, the amateur.
Thanks, Matt. Good luck on Saturday.
Absolutely, brother.
Thanks, Matt.
I want to talk to you guys anyway.
Do I use the mic?
Yes, sir.
Mark, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, pretty important fight for you, it seems like, this week, needing to kind of bounce back. So take me through something done.
I'm not really. I'm a better fighter to do, especially than putting the show for the crowd.
Until Saturday night.
So I'm really looking to put a show instead of me thinking, oh, I've gone back against the wall. I know I put exciting fights. I'm an exciting fighter, and I'm not really worried about that because it's about putting a show. It's MMA. There's many ways of losing, and I just feel like as long as I put my streak together, I'm good. So now it's about putting a show and trying to get these wins back up.
Do you think not being able to be in front of a crowd these last two losses played into that at all, or?
Nah, it's been different. It's been a lot of things just not outside just the fight in itself. Because think about it, we've been through COVID, so I was having to train outside in the rain with my friend because I'm training in the gym. You're getting grassed up all the training, so you couldn't really do anything. So I've been just trying to get training in. So it was a bit difficult to normal where we can train properly, we can do things differently. So I'm just excited. Fans are back to how it should be.
Heard a lot of stories like during COVID about people turning their houses or their garages or their apartments into makeshift gyms.
I caused some serious damage to my room. Yeah, put holes everywhere.
Is there a way that you were able to sort of use that during that time to sort of give yourself a mental edge and say, look at the...
Not mental time. I had maybe, I think, 3 fights. It just, I'm really excited to get him back to
my house, so
yeah.
I guess I'll just pack it.
You can't try and go buy a bike so I can stand. I just literally sneak whatever it takes, to get to the top.
Strong, quick rise in the last years.
If for one of the guys I was training with, Chris Duncan and Contender Series, but I just don't feel he's going to go through me yet because I still feel like, mentally, I still feel like I'm still a prospect. I've had 11 fights in the UFC. This is my 11th fight, but to me, fairly new.
You've been in there again.
So there's nothing he's going to bring to me that I haven't,
Need to win.
My only goal.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
UFC, and this guy's got 1 fight in the UFC, and on paper, he's the favorite. You're the underdog coming into this, on paper at least. How does that make you feel? Do you think that the bettors got this one wrong?
Nah, I mean, I'll be myself there before as well. It's okay. People are kind of naive. Whenever you see somebody knock somebody out, maybe two wins, good knockouts, they're like, oh, he's the guy. But I don't know. And I'm excited to put in a show.
And then everybody's kind of still talking about UFC London last weekend.
Yeah.
Is every UK fighter now thinking about how do I get myself in a position to get back on a London card whenever they go back there? I have to be there. What do I have to do to make sure I'm in that crowd next time? Is that in the back of your mind at all?
Nah, but I don't thinking of it like that. But I know it was a great card. And I feel like right now, especially with the position I'm in, I'm opening the main card in Columbus. I'm happy with that, like it meant to be. So I'm happy with that. But I do feel after finishing this guy, I probably want to be like co-main event or something in London because I do believe for example, Dan Hooker, I seen it for co-main in London. It was I think two losses or something. I'm not sure, but it's like I felt like I should have been in that spot probably because I know I put exciting fights in London. I'm undefeated in London, but I'm excited going back there.
And do you have a favorite moment from that weekend's card? It was crazy finishes all around.
It was a lot of crazy finishes. Molly.
Yeah.
The spinning back elbow. Jai Herbert's fight. That was a good fight. It was a good comeback from Utoporia. Yeah, that was a good fight. I enjoyed that fight as well. Yeah. And Arnold Allen, that was a good finish.
And then Tom Aspinall, future heavyweight champion or no?
Yeah, it made that look easy. It made that look pretty easy. That was a good fight too.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. That's it. Yeah.
That's good. Hey, man.
Hello.
Welcome to Fight Week. How you feeling?
Feel great, thank you.
Feel great?
Yep.
Excited to get back in there? Excited to be in Ohio?
Yes, exactly. And I heard this crowd, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed it.
We've asked a few of the guys about that today. Is there any way for you to tell how much you've missed it until you get out there on Saturday night?
I don't know. It's probably hard to explain because I was focused on like on my training and fighting for so long. It's not probably the biggest crowd I ever had in my fights. Yes, and when I thinking of that, like when I imagine this in my head, that's exciting. That's gonna be cool for sure.
Well, you're still pretty young in your career here, so I mean, in theory, it only goes up from here for you. But talk about sort of your rise here in the last year. I mean, it's happened pretty quickly.
Excuse me, what?
Your kind of your rise to this prospect status. It's happened pretty quickly. Can you talk about how that's gone for you?
Yeah, this part wasn't that hard because I'm fighting for my whole life, and as I worked on being in UFC, I was thinking of that nonstop and dreaming about that. And any hype after fight wasn't that hard. But right before the fight, my first my UFC debut, the night before was super tough. Because when hype coming like this too quick, that was tough. I kind of was a little bit confusing and shaking. I even called my grandmom. So hey, I'm scared. What's going on? She's like, hey, come on, don't be scared. Everything will be all right. Just go do whatever you do always. Yes. And now I'm pretty ready. Now even if it's getting more and more, I'm ready for that mentally.
Tell me about the conversation you called your grandma to say, I'm scared for this fight.
I'm not. I wasn't scared about fight. I just
scared about the moment. I guess
the most scary part when you can't understand why you're scared, why you're nervous. That was a hard part because I was so nervous, so scared about why. I'm always fighting. I do it all the time. I'm not scared of getting hit or fighting. I'm just scared. I don't know why, and that was confusing. That's why I called my grandma. I said I didn't explain much. And she didn't talk about this a lot. I mean, she's not a fighter, but she just tried to support me anyway. That's it. And maybe I try to not think of that, but sometimes when you dreaming about something so bad and you finally get this, it could be hard if you're not ready. Probably that's what inside I maybe not realize it, but maybe inside I thought, I'm ready or not for that? Yes, finally I have that. It's cool, but do I ready? Maybe I'm not, and maybe that's start bothering me a little bit.
When you went out there, obviously you seemed very ready for it, right?
Yeah.
Talk about that and kind of having that sort of behind you now, and having the pressure of that debut behind you, and now you can just kind of look forward.
Yes, now much easier. Do not overthinking of that because when it's happened first time, I was overthinking of everything. All this hype, or should I show everybody? Yes, it was an accident. Why I'm in UFC? Now I don't worry about this anymore. It won't bother me. Now I'm just do my business. I'm businessman here.
When you thought early in your career about how your career might go, did you think that this would be how it would happen for you? That you'd get to the UFC this quickly, and that I guess that you'd be on this solid of a run this early on in your career?
Yeah. Yes. Of course. That's almost everything what happened. I expected that. I was dreaming about that, and I try every time when I passed any goals. I try dreaming even bigger and bigger. If you dream not big enough, you just bullshit. You won't reach any goals. You have to dream big and bigger and bigger. It's only how you can climb up.
So you mentioned climbing up and getting bigger. Talk to me about your opponent, and he seems like he's kind of the next step up in level of opponent from what you just had. And I'm sure as you go on, they'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. So talk to me a little bit about what he brings to the table, and I guess what you thought about him as an opponent when you got the call and knew that it was him.
Oh, yeah, that's actually, I think, is a great matchup. UFC really know what they do. the very first time when I just heard about it, I thought, oh, it's going to be cool. It's going to be like fist fight, like back and forth, because he's striker too. But now I think like he's going to try wrestle me. But anyway, it's for sure like this guy. I respect him, and seems like he's always entertainment. Every fight, doesn't matter he losing or winning, he always entertainment, and he always fight against anybody. Like doesn't matter who he going to fight, who he I mean, he tough, and I like this. I believe it's going to be a really good fight for me, and good experience.
He said he thinks that his edge over you will be his level of experience and the kind of who he's been in there with. Is that something that you look at and concern yourself with, that he's got more time in that cage than you do?
You know, if we say about MMA world, I don't have like that big experience, but I work with a great team, maybe the best team in the world, Team Alpha Male, and I mean, we work so hard on this like MMA aspects, all wrestling, grappling, jiu-jitsu. And if we talk about fights, come on, guys, my first fight was in 2002. Like, I mean, my fight experience like so big. That's what I'm doing my whole life, and I don't think it's really enough and super new for me.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Hey, Slav, how are you? You talked a little bit of Team Alpha Male. How much does it mean to have guys like Uriah Faber in the room, helping you? Obviously, you've got great striking, but being in the room with guys who are so well-rounded, so experienced, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it's mean a lot. I'm so like thankful. I mean, I'm so happy. I'm part of exactly this team, and as more I'm living in Sacramento, I realize like, oh, I'm in the right place. I work with right people, and actually everything what we used to talk about happened. Just, I mean, you know, I even feel like Uriah know about myself more than I do. I mean, and also when we talk about wrestling and how I feel in a fight, usually it won't surprise me that much, because that's how I feel every single training in a Team Alpha Male. Everybody wrestle me every time.
What does a regular training schedule look like? Obviously, you know, it might be more wrestling heavy, more striking heavy. What does a regular week look like to you?
No, usually it's it maybe a little jiu-jitsu drills in the morning. It's a regular class. It depends what day is it. Like sometimes it's MMA, sometimes it's just wrestling, sometimes it's just striking. Like Monday it's MMA, Tuesday it's wrestling, Thursday it's striking, and Friday it's wrestling again. And also I do some extra classes or extra work, like personal work with coaches. Seems my first fight in UFC, my MMA, my UFC debut. I start work a lot on my strength with Darren. Like we have like one coach in our gym, and I mean, like I try to improve my power a lot too.
Speaking of Darren's, how are the rounds with Darren Elkins and stuff like that? Is he as crazy in the gym as he would be in the cage?
Yeah, this is one of the scariest men in this planet, and I really appreciate having him in the team.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Ilir, good to see you, man. How are you?
Nice to see you guys too.
How excited are you to be able to get back in there?
The pandemic, you know, it's been strange to have this fight without the.
How much you appreciated it until it was gone, until there was, you know, very few people in there to perform for?
I mean, it was nothing that we had strange. So I think still the Apex fights are great, you know, the smaller shows. So, but still coming out to a full venue is totally different.
You're a couple fights in now at heavyweight.
I actually started my career in heavyweight. I did 2-3 fights, but I feel good in heavyweight, and I think weight cutting in the long run is not healthy for the fighters, you know, and for me it feels better.
Had you just reached a point where getting down to, you know, to 206 was just too taxing on
Yeah,
you?
it was very taxing, you know. It's if you do it once a year, maybe it's okay, but if you're gonna fight 2-3 times a year, you know, with time it takes a toll on the body, and the body wasn't recovering as it should, you know. So I was cutting around, you know, 32 pounds, 34 pounds, you know, to each fight. So didn't do me good, you know. I also think it's also depending what kind of fighter, body type, you know, and genetics too.
Where do you feel, I guess, the most difference physically when you don't have to cut? When you get in the cage, I mean, do you feel a strength difference? Do you feel strangely some kind of a speed difference?
Strength, the stamina, recovery, everything. I mean, weight cutting takes a toll on the body in difference, you know, not only in your power, but even in your endurance and even your ability to endure strikes and a difference, you know. So I think through time we've seen people start cutting weight in better in different ways, and we also seen other organizations that done different limits to not letting fighters cut too much weight, you know.
You'll be coming up on 10 years in the UFC next year, I think. Could you have ever imagined that you'd have this long of a run here, given how you started in the UFC, which was kind of, you know, took a lot of people by surprise? Like, hey, by the way, we need somebody to fight. Here's this guy. And that's how you were introduced to so many people.
Yeah.
And here you are 9 years later.
Yeah, I mean, been a pretty crazy run, you know. I did my first UFC fight 31 years old, you know. And, you know, jumping in on 3 days' notice for Gustafsson when he got injured, cutting 30 pounds, taking that main event against the top 5 guy in the world. I think nobody until today has done that, you know, in that manner that I did. So, and here, almost 10 years after, it's been a crazy run, you know. I fought some of the best guys in the world, you know, was a contender in 205 too, so.
Talk to me a little bit about Aleksei as an opponent, kind of what he brings to the table. He'll be taller than you, but everybody you fight's taller than you, right? This is nothing new for you.
Everybody I fought in my career has been taller than me, so. But it's nothing different there. But what I can say about Oleinik is he's probably the most experienced guy in the UFC roster, you know, almost 100 fights, wins over very big notable fighters, you know, and a guy that comes to fight, you know, puts the pressure, and he's a very, very tough opponent. You guys have had some time together? We trained a little bit in American Top Team, but not very much. But still, we spent some time there. Very respectful, a great guy. Enough for you to pull anything out of any of those sessions and say, okay, I know he has this tendency or that tendency? Not really, but like I said, very well-rounded and not afraid to challenge and take the game where he needs. 10 years ago, maybe you talked to a fighter who was in his 40s or approaching 40, and you'd ask him, like, hey, when's the end of the road for you? It doesn't seem like it always necessarily has to be that way anymore. How much longer do you want to keep doing this? I mean, we've talked to guys who have said, hey, I'll do this till I'm 50. Yeah, I mean, I don't see the end right now. You know, I feel motivated, healthy, so I'm just going to keep going, you know, keep fighting, you know. So the most important thing is to be motivated and put on the training that you have to fight in this level. How much do you think going up to heavyweight potentially was able to extend your career? It helps. It helps for sure because, I mean, you see that in all weight class sports. With age, fighters go up in weight because you get bigger. You know, you see boxers going up with weight classes too when they get older. So it's rarely you see fighters go 10 years fighting and they're still at the same weight. So I think it's a natural process. Just a different step from other weight classes is when you're stepping up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, you're actually stepping up 3 weight classes or something like that. So it's a big difference in power, but you know, it is what it is.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Ilir, how are you? Look, we've seen a lot of changes in the past few years in MMA, both the trash talking and social media and the evolution of the sport in general and the growth and the fan base. How do you think that it's changed most in the past 5 to, I guess, 10 years that you've been in the UFC?
I think the marketing part, like fighters marketing has become so much more important, and you see of these young generation of fighters that grew up with social media and everything, that they put a lot of effort on marketing themselves and the trash talking and the whole show around it. And it is as important as being a good fighter, I think, today. As most popular are, the more interest the organization is going to have to get you to the top, you know. So I think it's just a natural evolution of the sport, you know.
You think if you were just coming into the UFC now, you would have done things differently? Would you have talked trash?
Of course. Not maybe, you know, everybody has their type, how they are as a people, and I think you cannot play a role that, you can't wear shoes that don't fit you, you know. But of course, I would do things different, you know. I mean, today you see fighters that they have one fight in the UFC, and they have a whole media team following them every training, you know. And I'm like, what is this? You know, he's just doing his first fight in the UFC, and it's like, so everything is like so much about marketing on social media, this and that, because the UFC has so much time to market you, you know. They can do it, but it's up to yourself to do it.
And then from a skill perspective, obviously we see the heavyweights and light heavyweights changing so much, like such a well-rounded game, guys like Tom Aspinall, we're seeing with crazy ground game and great striking. Do you think that that's evolved also? Fighters are coming up focusing on the game as a whole instead of specializing?
100%. This is a relatively new sport, and I think we've seen the evolution every 3 to 5 years. We've seen like small evolutions in the game, you know, and it's a totally different kind of heavyweights that fight today, you know. Very well-rounded and very technical.
Thank you.